And I think this is going to be a tip that I, even as someone who is working on his 6th book, forgets every now and then. But writing's supposed to be fun. I think that's the number one thing that new authors need to know, because there's so many social media personalities and online blogs and success stories where people think that if you're passionate about something, if you have a hobby, you need to monetize it to the nth degree. You need to be super successful or you're a failure. You need to, spend 20 hours a week writing or you're not doing it right. Like, step one of being an author, a new author, experienced author, whatever, you better be having fun. You better be enjoying the process.
Yep.
Or you need to kind of reflect, I think, and figure out, why am I not enjoying this?
Right. I interviewed Brandon Sanderson a few years ago, and one of the takeaways from that conversation that I have held on to throughout all this time is he said that before he broke in and got his first book published, that he had written 13 novels, and that he had just novels stacked all around the house, and and he said that if he would have not broken in, that he would still have written novels, because he is a novelist. Whether anyone wants those novels and decides to publish them, or if indie publishing is not a thing, I think we've all seen over the last couple of years that Brandon has taken, what he learned from traditional publishing, and is doing the whole hybrid thing now, to much acclaim. But he said that if he would not have broken in and no one wanted to buy those novels, then when he died, his kids would inherit a house with novels just all over it. And he said that that he has friends who like to go to the YMCA and play basketball one night a week, and no one ever harasses them about when they're going to play for the Lakers or whatever. That's just, there are certain hobbies that people assume are just perfectly legitimate to just have as hobbies. But for some reason, there's something about writing where people expect you to take it to a pro level. And sometimes it just doesn't even need to be that. Sometimes it just needs to be a thing that you do for the simple enjoyment of telling a story. Maybe it's just for you. Maybe it's something for your kids. Maybe it's, something for friends, or maybe you have a D&D group like you have, Doug, and maybe you just want to do something that benefits your, your gaming party. All of those are completely legitimate, no matter why you're writing. Have fun doing it and do it for the enjoyment of it. And then if it becomes a career that can pay your bills and support your family and all that, that's icing on top of the cake.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the D&D thing, because I'm making this world and this storyline for my players, and every now and then my mind kind of goes to, okay, am I gonna compile this and market it after? Am I gonna sell this as a product? Because, like, it is world building, it is storytelling, it is writing, but for a different medium. But then I also kind of step back and I'm like, why can't I just have fun doing this?
Right.
Why do I need to monetize everything that I do in my time? On the flip side, it's tough because we only have so many hours in a day and things are very expensive these days, and people want to make more money. I get that. But if you go into authorship from the very beginning thinking that you need to do X, Y, and Z to make any kind of money, and it's not worthwhile if you don't make a ton of cash, you're setting yourself up for failure.
And for heartbreak.
Yeah, and for heartbreak. I was actually, over the weekend, I was in a car with my brother-in-law, and he recently got into reading fantasy. um Before, he would see myself, my wife, my sister-in-law all reading, and he thought, what nerds. And so then we finally convinced him to start reading some, and he started with John Gwynn's, what was it, Wrath of the Gods? Anyway, started with John Gwynn, and he's become
An
obsessed with it.
excellent place to start, by the way.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The
And he's
Faithful and the
become
Fallen series. Yeah. Anyway.
He's become absolutely obsessed with reading. And since we were in the car, we had a bit of a drive together. He said, Doug, I have this cool idea. I think a cool idea for a story. And I wanted to just bounce it off you and see if it was worth writing. And I cut him off and I said, Al, it's worth writing. If you think you have a cool idea, just
Yes.
do it. Just try. So
Yeah.
he's a little hung up because English isn't his first language and he doesn't write a lot and whatnot. But like, if you think you have a cool story idea, embrace that passion and just start trying to bring it to life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And as it happens with most writers, as I think it was Tolkien that said that, you know, it grew in the telling, that
Yeah.
it starts with a kernel of an idea and you never know where it's going to go.